Welcome to the Almost Sunday podcast. We back. Lucas Kloss, Joel Mendelson, Eli Cron. We got time to talk about a lot of shite today, lads. A little Chiefs offseason, two-time reigning Super Bowl champs, little Aaron Rodgers making headlines again, even though he didn't say shit. And that's probably why he's making the headlines, though, because for once he's quiet when he should be saying something. We're going to make some early predictions about 4 teams that we think are going to fall out of the playoffs. And what are the Bears going to do with Justin Fields? What should they do, at least? Trade him. But first, got to give some letter grades for some of these acquisitions, some of these trades that we've seen, because there's been a living shitload. Actually, I had to leave a bunch out. Xavier Howard leaving the Miami Dolphins. Left that out. Whatever. Ancient guy, anyway. But I'm going to give you guys a name. Give me a letter grade and why you give it that letter grade for these trades. And I'm going to start with Patrick Queen, linebacker to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Eli, why don't you go first?
I'm gonna give that a B plus. Steelers defense is already really good, and I think he's just a good addition. He's proved he's a solid defender in the league, so I think a B plus is solid. Nothing crazy, nothing terrible.
I'm going A minus. I think it's a really good addition. I think he's a really quick player. He's just good in the middle. And as a Pittsburgh Steeler hater, I don't like it. So I'm going to give it an A minus for them.
Yeah, I'll give an A minus as well for everything you just said. And he came straight from their biggest rival, unless you still count the Bengals for now. But
why is that division so incestuous this offseason?
I know
everybody's just switching between.
It's so brutal to him because that division was already so good, and now it seems like it could be even more filthy. You have Joe Burrow coming back, Patrick Queen. That's a great addition for them. That defense can be disgusting. People are honestly going to be convinced that this team can do something because they have Russell Wilson and a defense that's always good. But they're still shite, Steelers fans, just so you know. Eagles add Saquon Barkley. Joel, you go first this time. It's your division.
I'm going to go with a B, just because I think it's a bold move to pay a running back like that. Although I don't know if you guys saw that graphic that the team, he's switching from earliest contact to latest contact in terms of line of scrimmage, like the Eagles running backs last year had the longest with the ball in their hand before they reached contact, whereas the Giants had the shortest. So I think that's kind of scary because he's very dynamic, but I wonder if he's the same player still.
Yeah, I give it a B plus. Saquon's one of the best running backs in the game right now, but we saw with the Eagles last season, DeAndre Swift, he was an unreal running back when they gave him a chance, right? He looked so explosive. He could get touchdowns at will, it felt like, 100-yard rush games, but he just didn't get that many opportunities. And if that happens with Saquon, it won't pan out as well as it should. So that's why I can't give it an A, B plus.
I'll give it an A minus. My biggest problem with this is the Eagles last year. The reason why they fell apart, other than maybe some weird leadership issues, is that defense was shit. They were so bad and so old. That's where they really need to be looking, is they had the worst secondary in the NFL. That was abysmal. And then, Swift was great for them. They just really stopped giving him the ball for some reason.
Yeah.
And I like what you said, Joel, about the whole, getting so far down the field before contact more than any other running back and more than any other team. But they lost Jason Kelsey. That's brutal. Lane Johnson is getting older. This is probably his last year too. So I wonder how that O-line is going to be, and are they going to be consistent with Saquon? I do think it's good. The only thing that makes me switch it to an A minus instead of a B plus is because we've seen Dallas's biggest weakness throughout the past couple seasons is a team just runs all over them. We saw Buffalo do it last year. Niners do it last year. Packers did it in the playoffs. For some reason, Dallas is so good against shit teams. And then if another team just wants to dominate them on the ground, they just have their way with them. But they need to definitely address their defense. So I'm kind of worried about that. All right. Packers add Josh Jacobs. Eli, you go first.
I like it. I think I'm just going to give it an A. Aaron Jones, he was great. He was an amazing running back, actually, but his injuries really plagued him lately. Wasn't consistent, and Dylan had to step in last season. He wasn't that great, pretty bad, actually. So I think Josh Jacobs, he doesn't get injured too much. He's been pretty healthy. So, and he's an explosive running back too. been killing it on the Raiders. I think he's going to slot in nicely. Nice young team. I think, yeah, A.
I'm gonna go B minus. I don't know if it's an upgrade over Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones has been like a really good 1-2 punch with either it was AJ Dillon this past year, but before that it was Jamal Adams. Yeah, but I don't know that it's necessarily an upgrade, and also like a 4-year deal on a running back who's in his 6th year now or 7th year. It's a long time for like running backs get injured way too easily. I'm gonna go B minus.
Yeah, I'll give it a B. I also liked Aaron Jones better as a fit for that offense, but again, people talk about the injuries for Aaron Jones, but also there's a lot of tread on Josh Jacobs' tires. Like Aaron Jones split carries for most of his career, so I find it kind of interesting. And this is an easy segue because Aaron Jones signs with division rival Minnesota Vikings, Joel.
I love it. I think it's like, I'm going to go just flat A. I think he's like what they wanted. He's just the ideal guy to fit in that.
I'm going A+, but Ty Chandler and Alex Madison, they were not getting the job done. They were utter shite. Okay.
Fumble City.
They were bad. Yeah, Fumble City. It was just not looking good for Minnesota.
They were 3-yard legends.
That's a massive upgrade. Aaron Jones is a king. He's going to be a king for the Vikings. They're winning it all.
Well, okay.
Sam Darnold, baby. Sam Darnold season. Get ready.
I'll give it an A. I do like the addition. Obviously, he's way better than Alexander Madison or Ty Chandler, especially Madison. Madison is so shit. But yeah, I'll give it an A. I think that's adds a new dynamic to their offense. They're going to need it because Sam Darnold is absolutely horrific. So that's some, and Aaron Jones against the Packers, he's gonna want to piece them up. He's probably feeling pretty sore about that. You saw him in the playoff games. He was fantastic for them, and he's like, now I'm suddenly released, and you replace me.
He murders the Cowboys. Aaron Jones murders the Cowboys every time.
And he ran well against the Niners too. He must be fuming right now. He must be lost, especially since it looks like the Packers are poised to take off. All right. Eli's favorite guy that he either wants to marry or he wants to be. Kirk Cousins lands with the Atlanta Falcons. Eli, obviously, I would tell Joel to start, but you just interrupt. So you go first.
Okay, sure. Yeah, well, it's no secret. Kirk Cousins is a great guy, great person of the community. How can you not love the guy as a good pillar of a good man in society these days? And his game speaks louder than his personality. Which is a crazy thing to say.
No,
I mean, he was dynamite. Let's just say he was dynamite for the Vikings the prior season. This season before this one, he killed it for them. I think he's a great quarterback, and he's going to help the Falcons massively. I give that an A. They have so many weapons on that team. They got Kyle Pitts, who's in desperate need of a good quarterback to get him some touchdowns, and Drake London. I feel like they're going to connect very well. Kirk and Drake, that's a beauty name. Rolls off the tongue nicely. I love that. Hey,
Eli, you said his game is louder than his personality. I feel like they're both like the same exact thing, which is just
Seriously.
like vanilla conservative. Just like, I'm gonna be safe here.
no,
that
you haven't been watching him. You haven't been watching him. I've been dialing in.
I think it's a B+ grade. I think they basically just got Matt Ryan back. But it will be really good. Really good for Kyle Pitts. I'm happy for Kyle Pitts.
Bro.
Yeah, no, B+, good quarterback. Just not gonna like win you many playoff games.
Yeah, I'll give it an A- just because I think it makes them the best team in the division. I think they'll win it. And honestly, maybe win a playoff game. That offense is stacked. They are a quarterback away on offense to me. They've got a receiver, a tight end, solid, a really good O-line, and stable
running back.
Yeah, so it's like, okay. And then the defense last year was an above-average defense, and they were top 3, I'm pretty sure, in the red zone. At least they were late in the year. So I actually really like this team on paper. Kirk, a bit old, coming off an Achilles injury. We'll see. I feel like Aaron Rodgers kind of fooled people into thinking like how insignificant this injury could be. He was like, "Yeah, I'm coming back. It's fine." And then obviously he never came back. But so Kirk Cousins dealing with the exact same thing. So we'll see. He's getting up there in age too. So I don't know how long he's going to be there. But
you got baited in by Aaron Rodgers, right? You thought he was going to come back last season.
Sure didn't. Anyway.
No, you thought he would.
Chargers restructure pass rusher Khalil Mack, but release Mike Williams. Joel, you go first.
you had to get rid of Mike Williams. He gets injured every single year, all the time, especially like Keenan does also. So you can't have both of them constantly getting injured. I think it was the right move to get rid of Williams. That's nice. They also signed Gus Edwards, so that'll be fun because they got rid of Eckler. The Chargers are weird to me still. Like, I think Harbaugh's a better coach than Staley was, but I don't know how well the team is going to take.
Staley.
But it's the year one thing, you know. It's like, oh, like new system, new this. Everybody has to learn. I don't think they're going to be great this year. I don't even know how to grade it. I just said a bunch of things, so we're going to give them overall a C+.
Ooh, harsh.
I'd say this is a B. It's good. Khalil Mack, amazing defender in the league. But I don't know, man. I think Mike he's bound to have one season where he bounces back and is fully healthy. And a fully healthy Mike would be unreal. We've seen it before.
That's not how injury proneness works.
Yeah,
I know.
So
but
would it be unreal or would it just be like
he's bound to have one healthy season? Watch it be this next one. Watch him wherever he goes. Watch him tear it up, though. You know. So I think there's something there where I'm not fully convinced that it was the right move.
Imagine the Chiefs take a flyer on him and he stays healthy. That'd be such a slap in the face.
Oh my god, it'd be the most classic thing in the entire.
It probably won't
It
happen,
would be.
but
So funny.
But if it does, they'll kick their faces.
The Chiefs need kind of like an older guy like that, like a him or maybe like a Mike Thomas or something.
Yeah, I mean, he can't be worth too much right now, so
Seriously.
Chiefs may as well make a move on him.
I'm gonna give it a B-. I flirted with a C+ actually, but Khalil Mack.
Why'd you call it harsh
I
then?
know, because I still went with C- because Khalil Mack, yeah, he did like kind of a resurgent year last year. Do I think he's going to keep doing that? Not so sure, but it is nice to keep him. I would have rather kept him than get rid of him. So that's what kind of bumped it to a B- for me. Getting rid of Mike Williams just seemed like a no-brainer. Like it had to be. I'm not giving this guy money. He's always hurt. He's great when he's healthy, like great deep threat, but I'm not, not going to deal with that. I'm not sure the Chargers are going to make the playoffs this year. A lot of people are already hyped on them. I think they'll make it next year, but I think they need to restructure a little bit. Okay. Cleveland Browns trade for Jerry Jeudy. Eli.
I'll give that a B+. They needed at least one more receiver there. But they're still a quarterback shy right now, I think. So it doesn't help too much having another good wide receiver. Jerry Jeudy was great on the Broncos last season with Russ, but I don't know. I think he relies on having a decent quarterback at least, and we'll see how that turns out. I don't think it's going to be great.
What happened to Jameis Winston? Jameis Winston's on this roster too. He's a decent quarterback. He threw 30 touchdowns in a year.
Jameis Winston, buddy.
Yeah, 30 picks too.
All I see is 30 touchdowns.
Well, that's not.
I like the move for Jerry Jeudy. I think Jerry Jeudy was like greatly held back by the Broncos in every year. No matter who the quarterback was, just Jerry Jeudy was not doing everything he could, in my opinion. I'm going, I don't know, B+ for Jerry Jeudy.
I'll give a B. I think they need a guy next to Amari Cooper to help a little bit, and I think he's better than Elijah Moore, so I'll give it a B. I do think he was held back a little bit with Denver. How much? I still don't believe in him really as a receiver. I think number 2 at best. So I don't know. It's not much of a needle mover for me, so just a B. All right. Eli's Seahawks released Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs, Joel, on defense. What do you got?
I don't like the moves at all. They drafted this amazing young defense, and then when it comes time to pay them, you obviously can't pay them all. But I think those are 2 solid players. I don't know how you're going to necessarily find players of those caliber in the draft. On another point, I do think they should trade for Justin Fields, but that's unrelated. Seahawks, C.
Oh,
Wow.
I see what you did there.
It depends on the draft, I
SEA.
guess, really.
I give them an F. Big F there. I mean, come on.
Maybe you're too
come
close.
On.
Maybe you're
This
too
defense
close.
was decent last season, right? It wasn't terrible. It wasn't the best either, but losing two of their best defenders is crazy. And if you think about their offense too, like they're not going to get any better this season from last season. No Drew Lock is a backup. Gino's just regressing. So if they get Fields, it's a different story, but that offense is like decent at best, mid league right now. So I think you need a good defense, especially for next season if you know you can't score that much. So it's an F.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks are in a bit of trouble here because 2 years ago they were kind of the resurgent team that no one expected to be with all their young defenders. And now they're getting rid of guys. My main problem is they spent 2 first-rounders trading for Jamal Adams, which made me scratch my head at the time.
Blitz
And
boy.
never lived up to it. Yeah, he's more of a linebacker than a safety. And he never lived up to it. Now he's out already. It's like, okay, this is just a disaster. And Quandre Diggs, I was like, I didn't understand when they got rid of him. I'm like, you really? Are you going to be paying this much to keep Quandre Diggs? You know, they even restructure Tyler Lockett, and he's fucking ancient. So it's like, okay. I'm like, this is so strange. And I don't know. This team, I don't see them as doing anything next year. I give them a C for this absolute nonsense. I never thought about Justin Fields going there, though. That's interesting. But 2 more. Bengals franchise tag T. Higgins, Eli.
I give that a B. T. Higgins, he's injured a lot, right? These last couple of seasons, he hasn't been healthy for the most part. I think he missed like 4 or 5 games this season. And he didn't really do much. I know Joe Burrow was injured. He didn't have him all season long, but I don't know. He's just lost a little bit of the enamor for me. I think he needs to change the scenery here, and the Bengals will be fine. Boyd can move up to the 2, or they can get another guy at the 2. So I wouldn't be too worried from a Bengals point of view. So I give it a B.
I think Boyd might be out of there soon as well.
Yeah, apparently Boyd's looking at Pittsburgh, and T. Higgins requested a trade. Yeah, T. Higgins requested a trade also. I don't know if they're going to honor it.
No way.
I don't know. I think the Bengals are honestly fucked, in my opinion. I'm giving the move an A, though, because you can't give him like a big contract when you have to give your big contract to your wide receiver 1, who is Jamar Chase. So I guess the franchise tag is the only logical way to go. He'll probably hold out or something if they don't trade him. But what else are you going to do? You know, you can't pay every like skilled player that you see. You got to pay your linemen. You got to pay your defense.
So I give this a B- because it's not so much that I hate it for this year, but I think before last season started, they should have traded T. Higgins, because I think they would have gotten at least a first rounder for him then. I feel like that would have been the adult move to do, because you're not going to be paying Joe Burrow top money, and you have to pay Jamar Chase, obviously, top money. You're not going to be paying a number 2 receiver as well top money, because he really is a number 1 receiver as well. So I think they should have moved on from him early, because now you're going to be paying like 20-something million for him, and he's disgruntled. They're kind of in trouble right now, because I do think they'll be good this year. I'll have them. I had Ravens winning the division last year, felt good about it, but I have Bengals probably winning it again this year, as long as Burrow stays healthy. If he gets injured again, then I have all sorts of problems, because I think he's the second best quarterback in our league. So
Burrow has that pattern of getting injured one season, the next season he just explodes. So could see that happening.
Yeah, it's starting to worry me a little bit, but we'll see. All right, last one.
Very worried.
It's kind of a double. Tony Pollard and Calvin Ridley land with the Titans. Joel.
I don't fucking get it. Are they building around Will Levis? Like, are they just like, oh yeah, he's the guy, you know?
They're trying
Let's
to
go,
see.
we'll pay a wide receiver. Let's go, we'll do this. And also, they didn't pay AJ Brown the money that they are now paying fucking Calvin Ridley.
It's
like,
crazy.
I get it.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
I get
That's
it. The
nonsense.
cap went up like crazy and this and that, but it's still just like ridiculous to me that they would trade AJ Brown. They basically, it was so weird. They like traded all their good players, but didn't rebuild. I'm going with a C with these moves. I don't think Tony Pollard's a number 1 back either. It's all weird. I don't like it.
I'm giving it a B+. They're both very skilled players. They both have the potential to do great things. I mean, Ridley, there was just too many weapons on the Jaguars last season. He couldn't get enough targets. So I think if he's the number 1 or number 2 on Tennessee, and Will Levis finds his game, he can throw the deep ball. We saw that a little bit at the end of the season. I think that could be a deadly combo. That could potentially be really good for next season. And Pollard, you had to go and get someone after Derrick Henry, right? So I think him and Tajay Spears, those guys, that's going to be a number 1, number 2 McGregor Mayweather type of uppercut combination there. So I love it, and I'm all for it. B+.
Eli's a huge Tajay Spears lover, for anyone that doesn't know. But
sheesh.
But I like the Calvin Ridley part of it. I think you have to, if you're trying to figure out what Will Levis is, I think you have to, give him some help. So I'll give it
DeAndre Hopkins isn't help.
He is, of course, but that was like his first year. Let's see what he can do in his second year. Also, DeAndre Hopkins is an old man, but so I'll give it. I think he can still play. Maybe him for the Chiefs. Anyway, B+. I'll give it. I I don't give a shit about Pollard. I said this when everyone was,
Right.
blowing him. I didn't second guess it. I first guessed that he's not a number one running back, and I don't think he's a difference maker there. I'd rather have Tajay Spears starting, honestly. But
Now look who's the Tajay Spears lover.
yeah, you know what? It's rubbing off on me.
Couple of them.
But there you go. So that's all we got for now. If we have obviously bigger moves, we'll talk about that in the future. But onto the gift that keeps on giving, lads. Aaron Rodgers. He is on the short list, apparently, of names to be RFK Jr.'s vice president. Huh. Would you look at that? That's normal.
He can do anything. He puts his mind to.
Yeah, I guess so. Another person on the list is former governor of Minnesota, Jesse Ventura. And Rodgers has said nothing to dispute this, nor has he said, thanks, but no thanks, because I'm kind of an NFL quarterback, and there's only 32 of these jobs. But anyway, Joel's initial reactions to this, please.
I don't think he's doing it. I think if he does, it's going to be like, what are you doing? It's like the biggest distraction ever. Also, when's the last time a fucking independent won the U.S. presidency? Even if he is on the ballot, they're never coming close. They're not sniffing it. I don't understand why he does these things. It's like he enjoys when the internet just talks about him, no matter the context or like how they like him or not.
Mm-hmm.
Do whatever you want, man. It's weird at this point. It's weird.
Yeah, this has a snowball's chance in hell of happening. Like, this is just media bullshit, right? Trying to get headlines and stuff. I mean, he can do whatever he wants, I guess, but yeah, it's just weird. Aaron Rodgers, quite the guy, man. Quite the guy.
Like, I think the Jets are already a joke, to be honest, but they need to squash this. Like, they should come out or at least go to him and be like, you need to say something about this, being like, no. Thank you, I'm flattered, whatever, but it's not happening because you're kind of an NFL quarterback, and you can't be an NFL quarterback and be running for vice president at the same time. I know you have no chance of winning, and I'm sure they know that, but you can't really be doing those things at the same time. And if you're the Jets, that you can't allow that to even be a story. You can't allow that to be going on. That's embarrassing. And honestly, I think it's time to retire for Aaron. This is getting ridiculous. Like, quit it. This is his last year guaranteed. I've had enough of this, and I think he's had enough of this because he can't just play anymore. He has to do something else.
I don't think it matters though. I don't think the Jets care that much. It's dumb media. It's dumb news. It's going to go away. It's not like it's tarnishing any reputation. Everyone already knows who Aaron Rodgers is. He's going to play next season. I think they're just worried about the season or they're focusing on the season to start. I don't think it matters that much.
But see, this is what I find so funny. This was another quarterback I think would be freaking out way more, but because it's Aaron Rodgers, we're just like, yeah, it's Aaron Rodgers, whatever. It's
classic.
He's just doing some shit, whatever. He just says shit and gets away with it. It's whatever. But and the coach and the GM can't do anything because Aaron Rodgers likes them and it's his team now. He's basically the pseudo head coach. But I just find it so funny. He said, at the end of the season, he said, this is a long quote. He said, when you step in the building, there's intentionality in everything that you do. And it's not a half the time thing. It's not a sometimes thing. It's not a most of the time thing. It's an every time thing. He's trying to channel his inner Tom Brady here. If you want to be a winning organization, you have to put yourself in a position to win championships and be competitive. Everything that you do matters. And the bullshit that has nothing to do with winning needs to get out of the building. Okay.
I feel that.
If anyone is the worst messenger for this ever, it's Aaron Rodgers. And right away, we have this guy saying he's on a short list of VPs. This is a joke.
He's got away with words, man. That was a very nice message.
Just retire. You're irrelevant at this point in this league.
Let's see what happens this next season. Let's see if we can get the Jets to the playoffs. Let's see. Shall we?
They can't, but okay. Now, speaking of playoffs, we're going to look at 4 teams that made the postseason last year, and we're going to pick 4 teams that we think are not going to make it. Eli, we're going to start with you.
So my 4 teams are the Browns, Rams, Bucks, and Steelers. All right. So the Browns, they don't have a quarterback to get them in. I like Joe Flacco. I did. If they kept him, I would have had them making playoffs, but they're not making playoffs. The Bengals are getting in for sure, I think. So one of these teams has to go, and that's the Browns. And then for the Rams, that's just such a good conference. I think I don't have to give my replacement, but I don't think they have the skill right now to get in. I think Stafford could easily get injured again. I'm just not a huge fan of the Rams for next season. The Bucks, Mayfield, he's still hard to read right now. He did great last season, got them into the playoffs, but I could easily see them falling off again. I don't have too much faith in him. And then the Steelers, they traded for Russ, but still the same old shitty Steelers. They always have these little internal conflicts, these wide receivers being little dusters. Their defense is always so good, well coached and everything, but I don't see it making it.
Interesting. I agree with some of that. Joel?
I'm gonna start with the Cleveland Browns for the same reason as Eli. They don't have a real quarterback in my mind. I do think they're a good team. I like Stefanski as a coach. Talking myself back into the Browns kind of, but I'm gonna keep them there for the time being. Next, it's one of these two. It's either the Miami Dolphins or the Buffalo Bills, and I think I'm gonna have to go with the Miami Dolphins. I don't think the Dolphins are as good. They always start the year so hot, and then they always cool off like crazy. And it's just like by the end of the year, it always feels like, okay, like
as the weather cools down, so do they.
Yeah, exactly. They're not nearly as good when it starts to become like important. So I don't think the Dolphins are going to be good this year. Actually, they'll be good. I just think the division's too good for them to make the fucking playoffs. Next, I do think the Steelers are going to make it. I will go the Bucks. I think the Cinderella story's over. Baker got his contract. I just think it's Todd Bowles as a head coach. It's not the greatest team in the world. I think they had an electric year last year, but I do think the Falcons are going to win that division. And finally, my final team.
Wrestling with it.
It's difficult. Like, I don't want to, but
it was hard to find four. The fourth one was difficult.
I guess I'll go with the Rams. I really didn't want to go with the Rams because last year I didn't think the Rams had a good shot, and they really proved me wrong. And they were really good even when Stafford was injured. They were just like a really solid team. And I trust Sean McVay. But I'm not going to say the Cowboys, so it's going to be the Rams.
All right, so two teams it seems we all agree on. One is the Bucks. Yeah, I think they're out. I think Atlanta's going to win the division. I don't think anyone else is good enough to make it. I think, Mike Evans getting older. I know he re-signed, and I think he's great. I mean, he has a chance to be a Hall of Famer, but, Baker gets his money. Are they going to be the same? I don't know. I don't trust their coaches either. The Browns, talk about a Cinderella story. Comeback player of the year, Joe Flacco. I'm not buying it now that Burrow's back. I know they kind of have the Bengals number, but I think the Bengals are going to be one of the top seeds, like one of the top 3 seeds in the AFC. So really, that's going to be a problem. Yeah. As long as Burrow stays healthy, which I'm banking on. This one hurts me, but I agree with the Miami Dolphins, Joel. They lost a lot. I feel like they went for it the past 2 years a little bit, and they couldn't get it right. They've lost a lot of pieces. They lost Van Ginkel, the Flying Dutchman, as Eli coined him. That's a pretty bad loss. Xavier Howard, I know he was old, but he's gone. They're weak on both sides of the trenches, which is a complete disaster. And they don't really draft all that well. They can't really get the defense right. They can't get the O-line right. Tua's health obviously is a huge worry. So I'm going to go with Miami. I don't think the division is like tough by any means. It's only the Bills.
Yeah, I actually like thinking about that now because the Bills had to do kind of a similar thing to the Dolphins too, where they had to get rid of a lot of their core. So I do take that back. But
they're going to take a step back. I think the Patriots are terrible, and I think the Jets are shit. But I just think the AFC is so good that Miami's going to drop off. And this one hurts me as well, but my fourth team is the Philadelphia Eagles.
No way.
It is. I think for once, for the first time in I don't know how long, 10 plus years, there's going to be the same division winner back to back in that division. I think Dallas is going to win it again because Dallas's problem is not the regular season. They wipe a bunch of terrible teams and win a bunch of games, and they actually play well inside their division. So it's when they get to the playoffs, that's where they struggle because then they just get exposed for being a fraud. But the Eagles, that collapse is hard for me to unsee. And I don't think they've gotten better really so far in the offseason. You lose Jason Kelsey on one side of the ball. You lose Fletcher Cox on the other side of the ball. That's 2 leaders on the team. I don't really trust Nick Sirianni at this point. They bring in Kellen Moore. I never really liked Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore is the weirdest story in the world. Why does everybody love him?
I don't know. People wanted him to be a head coach when he was the OC of Dallas. I didn't get that. Then they thought he's going to change life for Herbert. I didn't get that. I don't think he's going to change life for the Eagles. So I think the Eagles are going to be that other team that drops out. I can't believe you guys said the Rams, because they're only going to get better. They shouldn't have been anything last year. They were really young last year.
I feel like they're in the same position the Seahawks were. No one expected anything out of them, and then they shocked everyone. And then there's some regression that'll happen, you know?
But the difference is with them is
I get the same feeling.
They have Matt Stafford, though, instead of Geno Smith. They don't have some dinky doink at quarterback. They have, maybe a Hall of Famer. They probably have a likely Hall of Famer at quarterback. So
Geno was good going into this season, but then he fell off. I think that could. I mean, Stafford is amazing, but he's getting old too. He's an old guy.
He is. He's
an old
broken his back a couple times, man.
He's getting older, but
he's taking a lot of hits. So I don't know. I just don't have the most faith.
I might even pick the Rams to win the division, honestly.
Dude, but you're Eagles, man. You don't think their offense will get it together?
It hurts. Honestly,
they have so much talent on that team. I find it hard to go against them, especially when they've done so well with the tush push. Like that, the NFL's not taking that away. I don't think
but Kelsey's gone.
To do that.
But Kelsey's gone.
Yeah, but now you got Saquon in the back.
But
so what? You still have Hurts who can squat 600 pounds.
I know, but Kelsey's a Hall of Famer, right? You can't just get rid of him. He was still like the best center in football, or like top 3. You can't lose that and expect to replace it.
It's a big blow, but I still think the tush push will be effective for them.
I think it'll be good, but we're gonna find out, honestly, who's the real like power behind it. I think it's gonna be interesting. Honestly, the Eagles were my 4th team. It was a lot easier for me. Bucks and Browns were no brainer. Then I got to Dolphins, and I was like, okay. And then I had to decide between either Pittsburgh or Philadelphia, because to me, I like the Packers. I like the Lions. I still think the Niners are going to be there. Dallas, like I said, I think they're going to be fine in the regular season.
For Pittsburgh, though, Russ, he just has fumble problems. I think he can throw games away himself. We've seen it on the Broncos, so I'm not too over the moon on him.
I mean, neither am I. I don't think he's going to be anything special, but this is what Pittsburgh does. They always are a complete eyesore to watch, and they play like 7 night games and plague everyone's TV screens, and then they are losing the whole game, but they're only down by 3, and then they win in the end because their defense bails them out. It's
like predetermined that they're going to win a late season game 12-7 to clinch a playoff spot. I hate every second of it.
They're not
the worst football ever.
They're not doing it.
They're going to do it. I think they're going to be the same team, honestly, as last year, maybe slightly better, but not record-wise. 10 wins max, bounced early in the playoffs. Nothing special. Yeah. But I do think they're just going to continue to plague all of our eyes with their bullshit. But yeah, that Eagles hurts, because I'm also looking at quarterbacks, and I think Hurts is one of the best quarterbacks in that conference. But I don't know. Something's wrong over there. All right, moving on. Justin Fields still with the Bears. Seems like the trade value for him has kind of died down a little bit, because we thought Falcons, we thought Pittsburgh. Now only a couple teams remaining. So for me, the way I was looking at it was Patriots are still in need of a quarterback, because maybe they'll draft someone late. But Bailey Zappi, obviously not the guy. They got rid of Mac Jones. And the Giants. Daniel Jones is horrific, and he's injury prone. He can't be the guy. They should never paid him. That team is in hell. So I think those are 2 good landing spots. And you guys were talking about the Seahawks earlier, but then we found out that they've signed Sam Howell.
They Sammed it.
That's really
Sammy.
Really head scratching. But what do you guys think they should do with Justin Fields? Because do you think they should keep him because he showed a little bit of promise? They did win 8 games with that roster last year. Or you think they should just move on, draft Caleb Williams number 1? Let's start with Eli.
I think they should move on from Fields. They have the number 1 pick, Caleb Williams, obvious choice. He's going to ball out. He could have a CJ Stroud year and even be better than Justin Fields ever was. And there's still good trade value on Fields. We know what he can do. His legs he can run, rush the most yards out of any quarterback other than Lamar. So any team I think would be lucky to have them. Like you said, New York Giants, that would be a great landing spot for him. Trade, for some future picks or even get some defensive assets now to really bolster up their defense. And then once Williams comes in or whatever quarterback they draft, they'll be fine.
Yeah, realistically, at best, you're getting a single third-round pick. That's max what you're going to get.
No way. You could get more from Fields.
No, you cannot. You absolutely cannot.
Especially for a team like the Giants who know they need a quarterback.
No chance.
And Fields is young too, right? Like,
yeah, but
I don't think people can give up on him so early.
But they have, and he's kind of made you because he hasn't done shit. He's had enough chances.
Well, I think that's also the issue with him being with Chicago. Well, that's also my point. Is I don't know what they should do because no matter what, I can't imagine Chicago developing a quarterback correctly. So, like, I do think that they will draft Caleb Williams. And who's to say if he's going to make it just because of the shit fucking organization that he's in. That being said, if they're going to trade Justin Fields, I want the Vikings to trade for Justin Fields.
In their own division?
Jefferson this week was talking about how he wants Fields, and Fields would be so epic in that offense. Think about it, him throwing to Jefferson. You got KJ Osborne, you got TJ Hawkinson,
Addison.
And now you have fucking Aaron Jones in the backfield with you. It would be so epic, and he would get to play against Chicago 2 times a year. If they got a good enough return, I think they would do it because they're drafting number 1,
They would have to get a way better return than third-round pick if they're going to trade him in the division because that's just like...
I think
you're just
I think a second rounder would do it.
That would
like
be
a second, a fourth, and a fifth, or some shit like that.
That would be a complete shocker to me. I do think that the Giants should look at him. I think the Patriots definitely should. Now that both teams are kind of pivoting a little bit. The Patriots moving on from Belichick, even though they still have a Belichick protege, they're going to be sort of defense first, I think. But you get a quarterback that can run a little bit, kind of keep their defense on the bench a bit more, give them some rest. I think that would be an interesting dynamic. I do think they should get rid of him and obviously draft Caleb Williams because the league is actually telling you what that number 1 overall pick is worth to them because they would give up multiple first-round picks to get that number 1 spot from the Bears. So I think you just follow that alone as a guide as to what you should do because you just have to try. You can't do this again where it's like you're just constantly with some mid quarterback or even worse than that. Because imagine you're the Bears and in your own division, you watch the Packers grow from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. They have like 50 years of great quarterbacks and you're sitting there just like, oh, we're tough city. Like, okay, good for you, but you're terrible. And you're just the son of the Packers for this whole time. So it's time for them to, nut up. Get a good QB, give your fans something to watch. This is fucking embarrassing.
Man, I wish the Seahawks didn't trade for Sam Shitty Howell. Like, otherwise, I would have been all for Fields to go to the Seahawks. He would have been amazing on the Seahawks. Give them some life. The fans would have loved that. The whole city of Seattle would have surrounded him with praises and showers of love and gifts. But no, it wasn't meant to be. Instead, Sam Howell. He led in passing yards like halfway through the season, so maybe that's good.
I think that would have been a nice fit too because the Niners actually struggle with mobile quarterbacks, so that would be nice. Twice a year, Niners would have to deal with that.
You're telling me Sam Howell's not mobile?
Okay, but let's be real, right?
He's actually pretty fun. Like DK and Tyler Lockett will probably have decent seasons with Sam Howell. He can air the ball out.
They probably will. I mean, they're doing well.
Gino,
Howell's just going to throw it up, right? He's just going to throw a bunch of picks, and he'll throw for a bunch of yards too, but a bunch of picks. Yeah. So that's an interesting fit there. Seahawks are fucked.
Gino's time was over, though.
Maybe they'll compete for the job.
Okay.
All right, lastly here, Chiefs, everyone's new nemesis, the new Patriots. They restructured Patrick Mahomes' contract, freeing up $21 million in cap space. We saw them re-sign Chris Jones. He got a massive deal. It looks like L'Jarius Sneed's probably going to be out of there. But, we'll see. With him, with that freed up 21 mil, they could find a way to keep Sneed. Still unlikely. They can actually, with this freed up space, they could keep him. They could find a way to get it done. And, they're clearly all in trying to get this third Super Bowl because they're trying to rewrite the history books. It's Mahomes versus Brady, and it's Andy Reid versus Belichick. And if they get 3 in a row, which has never happened in league history, and they're already on pace to catch the Patriots anyway, that would just be insanity. So, Eli, how fucked is the rest of the league next year?
If Snead signs, it's diced. It's dice season for everyone else. I think he should sign though. Snead, I mean, you win 2, you're in a great position to go for a 3-peat. He even said in an interview, he's like, I want the 3-peat. So take a pay cut if you have to. Let the Chiefs organize whatever they have to and get some more players, get a wide receiver with the leftover cap room, and help that offense out.
One, probably.
They need even draft one. Yeah, they have the 32nd pick in the first round. So, and this is supposed to be a wide receiver stacked draft. So I think they should draft or even trade for any wide receiver out there. You can get Mike Will. We were talking about that earlier. That could work. But Snead, just take a little bit of a discount. It doesn't have to be a lot, but depends how selfish he is. I think it would really help them out if they keep Snead.
For me, you can kind of just pencil him into the AFC Championship game right now.
Oh, 100%. That's where the season starts for them. And then we're just going to
debate all season who's going to play against them. And I'm sure midway through the year, we're going to be like, oh, they just lost to this bad team. They're not that good anymore. And then 5 weeks after that, they're going to be winning. And we're going to be like, oh, fuck, how did we not see this coming again? And Chiefs are going to be really good. And they're just like the Patriots now. And it's fun. It's fun. Not.
Yeah, so I did doubt them at points last year, of course, when they were losing to the Raiders and to Denver.
Everyone did, man.
I was like, what is going on here? I was like, it didn't look like the Chiefs, right? So I was like, this is super strange. But then it didn't matter because I forgot that just like the Patriots, teams panic in the playoffs next level. And the Ravens, to me, still, I think the Ravens were a better team last year, and they just freaked out. They're like, They're like, we're against the Chiefs and they scored 2 touchdowns. We're fucked. We're in a shootout now. And they weren't at all. Like, even Eli stayed more calm watching that game because I was freaking out. And Eli's like, the defense has been so clutch for the Ravens, man. They're going to step it up. And he was actually right. In the second half, they did. They were great. And, but the offense just panicking the whole time. So I don't know what it's going to take to beat the Chiefs. Either Joe Burrow or just an unbelievable lucky streak by like the Texans. Like, I don't know. But yeah, if they keep Snead, who to me is the best corner in the league, it's fucked because they already have McDuffie, who's a great corner. He's a number 1 corner in his own right. They're going to draft a receiver to go along with Rice, and Rice is going to be better. All the receivers are going to be better than they were this year. So to me,
they just have the best scouts in the league. I don't get how they just keep nailing their draft picks.
Brett Veach is a fantastic GM. He's so good. And the fact that Mahomes is doing what Brady did and Manning and Breeze in their later years, where he's taking these pay cuts and restructuring his contract all the time so that they have all these weapons around him before they really have to pay big. The only thing they overpay for is their O-line. That's it. And now maybe Chris Jones. But I think that's right, because I honestly, without Chris Jones, I don't think they would have the number of Super Bowls they have now. So to me, I think that makes complete sense. And I wonder where they are in the draft, because I know they have the 32nd pick, but do they still have one of the picks from Miami from that Hill trade? I don't think so, but no, they don't. But to me, they're still just such a problem. And this year, if they're struggling and they don't look like the Chiefs, you're not going to see me going, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just pencil them in for the AFC Championship. They're probably going to be hosting it. And either CJ Stroud or Joe Burrow is going to have to walk in there and drive a stake through their open heart.
Just think like how Nick Wright does. The Chiefs are always winning. No doubt. No doubt.
I know. That's some of
they could lose 5 in a row.
Right.
No doubt. No doubt. They're winning.
Yeah.
Hang the banners. Pull the stupid banners from the ceiling.
Here we go. Lock it in. Packers over the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Dude, you're crazy about the Packers, man. They're not making Super Bowl.
I don't know why I'm so in. I've never even been on the Packers in the Super Bowl, but I'm in. They're gonna be 10-point underdogs and they're gonna win.
Lions. It's Lions, bro. Trust. This is their year.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Anyway, final thoughts, snide comments.
That sounds like a camera teacher of mine.
Don't know what you're talking about. All right.
Okay.
That's it for us on the Almost Sunday podcast. Like and subscribe, I dare you.
Peace out.